welcome to Down to Watch, the podcast that asks the question, are you down to watch? I'm your host, Kahmeela. There will be talk about movies, music, TV, and just general pop culture goodness. But today, specifically, we're going to be talking about some little alcohols. I am joined by Don and Nayana Ferguson, founders of Teeqlife and Teeq Tequila, which was voted the best Michigan tequila brand for 2019. Am I correct in saying that?
You're right, yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
And welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. So, yeah, I mean, in 6 months, we were voted best Michigan tequila brand by the Detroit Metro Times. So we had over 40,000 people vote for us.
That's amazing.
Months. So it's crazy.
So the tequila's only been alive for 6 months.
No. We actually, on the 27th of August, so this month, we will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary of Teeq Tequila on the market. So
wow.
Which is fantastic because, you know, just what we had to go through, you know, we have the world's only coconut lime Blanco tequila, and then we a reposado that's aged 8 months in whiskey barrels, and just hitting the stores, doing everything ourselves, so to speak, right out of the gate. You know, a flavored tequila is never going to sell. You guys aren't going to make it, you know, to compete with the big brands. Just all these negative things.
Right.
And here we are a year later, and we're about to make something else on the market.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so tell me how you even got to producing your own tequila.
I mean, we have to do a short story, but it comes from what we call our couch conversations. You've heard, Don and I talk a lot on the couch, just having conversations about everything in life. And at one point in our lives, you know, both of us were in corporate America, and there was significant changes being made in both of our careers. And so we started talking about, well, what would you want to do, you know, if you can control your career or control what you want to do and create your own legacy of something. And he was like, well, I've always wanted to have a tequila company. And he's like, no, that wouldn't work. And I was like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, in society, you know, a lot of things is, especially like you go to school, you get a job, and that you hope to collect a pension from that job. But we live in a different era, and I made it to divisional vice president of operations for a major mortgage company, the number one mortgage lender in America. Okay. And I just wasn't happy. I mean, I was working all the time, and so what started off as kind of like an investment down the road turned into a full-time job for me because they kept moving me around. So I just really wasn't happy anymore. Once you lose passion in something, you're done. Your brain checks out. Mm-hmm. It's time to move on. And so for me, luckily I had the support and I had some finances in order to be able to do this venture, full time while my wife still works and our other business partner, he still works as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just one of those things. Can we really do this? And, you know, I left it up to my better half to say, hey, you kind of can.
Of course we can. Why not?
Exactly. And that's the attitude to go with.
Absolutely. And so just coming up with the idea, you know, I found, you know, just all the things that we needed to go ahead and start the tequila. It's not something that everybody knows how to do. We didn't know how to do it either. But we are learning as we go.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Do either one of you have any background in spirits making or anything like that?
I drink a lot.
No.
So you're really familiar with what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
So you know how to make a good tequila.
Yeah, so it was like, you know, I had a passion, I had a love for tequila, and really it came from our couch conversations and watching diners, drive-ins, and dives, Guy Fieri. Yeah. And, you know, I looked at her and I said, why doesn't anybody do this, like, for bars, you know, for small brands, going around and talking about spirits? Because it's a pretty big industry. You know, if people didn't know, it's a very lucrative industry. And that's why all your celebrities are starting to get into it, specifically a lot with tequila now. But, so she just looked at me and said, well, why don't you? And so that's where Teeqlife kind of came into play, where I started just going on YouTube, going on Facebook and reviewing liquors, small liquor brands.
Okay.
I didn't think that it would, I didn't know what it would do, but it kind of was a good segue into getting into the tequila industry. So I started to learn a lot as far as marketing, promotion, understanding what to do, what not to do. Mm-hmm. And so at the same time, we were starting to, formulate this plan for tequila. And then it kind of then transcended into, well, if we're going to do a tequila, we got to do something completely different. So let's create a flavor that nobody else has. And that's where the coconut lime came into play.
Wow.
And we wanted something that you could pour into a glass, drink, and you don't need a chaser. You don't have to top it off with all these syrupy fruit mixtures that they use at like Applebee's for their Dollarita. You don't have to do that, Like it's a premium tequila.
Nasty.
And you're good.
That sounds awful.
It is
really bad.
Very much so.
It's so bad, And then, tequila has its own stereotypes as well, to where it's the party drug. It's in a liquid form, and you go to Cancun, you drink the shittiest tequila in the world, you never touch it again, and it's just because you're drinking bottom barrel. So it's like comparing, it's just like anything. There's good and bad. So then we also have a reposado tequila that is aged 8 months in whiskey barrels, and we can't say which whiskey barrels because it is a very big brand.
Okay.
Yeah, but. Okay. It has some.
That's fair.
We'll just say the initials are JD.
Oh wow! So Jackson Dean.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Wow, that's a really great brand.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a financial company. Is that in Wall Street?
So it might
be. So is that in Wall Street?
Right.
Jackson Dean.
I don't know. It's the first name that came to my mind. So I've heard you say that there are a lot of health benefits from drinking a premium tequila. Please tell me more about the health benefits.
Yeah, we can. Okay, we're not doctors or anything like that. These are just things we've read. But because tequila is made from a plant, so it is naturally gluten-free. It is also very low in carbs or sugars because it doesn't have some of those properties that other spirits has. So, the hot word today is keto friendly. Yeah. So, it has that. It is a probiotic as well.
Interesting.
So, yeah. What was the other one? I know you.
It helps with anxiety. So,
a lot of liquors do.
You too much though. You can't drink too much though, because of course, if you drink too much, then you'll get, anxious or something. Because it's a balance. With
everything.
Yeah.
And the personal story to it is being low in sugar. While we kind of really geared over to drinking tequila, and that's what we mostly drink when we're drinking, is she is a 14-year survivor of pancreatic cancer.
My God, congratulations.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Yeah, so the sugar she can't,
I'm
really,
not supposed to.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where a lot of your hangovers come from, honestly. It's because of the sugar, the dirty. So there's a heads and tails, when it comes to liquor in the barrel, and you cut the heads and the tails, you get the middle part, and that's where it's a premium spirit. Mm-hmm. So that's where there's a difference between a $10 tequila compared to a $45 tequila, because it is cleaner. It's not dirty. It's not a mixto. It doesn't contain the sugars, no additives, all that different stuff. That makes a huge difference.
And a lot of people don't know that.
No, they buy Fireball and Jaeger.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was always a tequila drinker, and I never had a bad tequila story. Like everybody else has their terrible tequila stories, but I was always very pleasant. It was always great for me. But Jaeger, on the other hand, that's not my friend.
Nor should it be.
No, that's not a good look for anyone. So do you guys have a favorite tequila specialty cocktail that you would like to throw out there?
So we're gonna say tired right now because it was a late night. Our mixologist. Read between the lines there.
Are you the mixologist, Nayana? No.
Right.
We had to get together and drinks were made. Several drinks.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm sure you have stuff on your website and your Facebook and things like that, and we will most definitely direct listeners to that. And so speaking of specialty cocktails and whatnot, what you guys have joined me here to quite apropos to talk about is the movie Cocktail.
Ever work behind the bar?
My uncle's in the business.
You know how to make a red eye, Mr. What's your name?
Brian Flanagan. No, I'm sorry I haven't had the pleasure as yet.
What about a vodka martini with a Pernod float?
I'm a fast learner.
Yes.
Yeah.
From 1988, directed by Roger Donaldson. Very 1988. Written by Haywood Gould. And our plot summary on this from IMDb, it's no more is plain and simple. A talented New York City bartender takes a job at a bar in Jamaica and falls in love.
Oh, that's what it says, really?
That's all the thought that IMDb put into the movie Cocktail.
Okay. I mean, now, there's a lot more.
Part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very interested to hear what you all think about this movie. Now, Don picked this because he mentioned it as one of his favorite movies.
It's,
but it's different when you watch it when it first came out, and then now you're years older,
Agree.
and it's different. So because we did watch it again,
yes,
and because both of us watched it, in the 80s, but we watched it again, and it's just a different perception now.
Sweet fancy Moses, is it? I don't think I ever saw it all the way through before, and I'm like, and I'm sitting watching this yesterday, and halfway through I'm just like, wrap it up.
I know it's a little different watching it now than back then.
It is. I still got excited with Kelly Lynch, in the string thong.
Yeah.
That was I remember watching it my first time in 88. So how old would I have been?
Were we like 12?
Something 13-ish.
Yeah.
Like that. We're not gonna throw out age. We'll just say I wasn't legal drinking age at the time, but Kelly Lynch walking down that ladder on the boat really did something, and it was like, oh, I
forgot that part.
I want to be in liquor.
I mean, it was it was very. She did fill the frame, and it caught me by surprise about how much was happening in that frame, or not happening. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I don't. Tom Cruise, not a fan. He's always Tom Cruise, right? Except for there are two roles that I can think of that that I love him in, that he's not, and it's Lestat in Interview with the Vampire, and the producer in Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. I knew you were going to say that.
Which is probably my most favorite role of Tom Cruise ever.
Because it's not Tom Cruise.
Right. Right.
And Interview with the Vampire, I really love. I think that's an underrated movie.
Oh my God, is it?
Just so underrated. But it's one of those when you're flipping channels and it comes on, pause.
Right.
It's almost Shawshank Redemption.
I try to watch it every time I see it.
It's a day changer.
But I can't say if I'm a fan of Tom Cruise or not. What was interesting is, we wanted to watch the movie again just to kind of refresh it. And we'd never watched it before together. So I have endless amounts of DVDs and I'm searching for this movie. And I don't know, I probably got about 600, 700 DVDs. And I'm thinking I have to have this movie.
I do too. I can't get rid of my physical DVDs. I refuse with the whole.
I must have this, right? And so I can't find it. And I'm just like, how? Okay, so it's got to be on a streaming service. There's no, it's not for free. You had to pay.
See, luckily I caught it. After you chose this movie, it was on Showtime the next day, and I was like, bet. Right. And so I hit DVR and then recorded it, and then I watched it back yesterday.
We don't have Showtime.
Yeah, we don't have Showtime. So you're right. So we had to rent it, and
it's $3.99. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's not going to break the budget, but it's the price of a good cocktail somewhere, right? But
$3.99? No.
Well,
after you just talked about how important premium premium liquor is.
We do know a lot of people now in the industry, so maybe we get charged a little less.
Gotcha. Oh, cost of a cocktail for you guys, for the cocktail king and queen of Michigan.
we know a few people, so we can saunter in somewhere, and our bill comes to like $10.
Word. And about 5 or 6 drinks.
Yeah,
that's a nice humble brag right there. So so you had to pay for cocktail, and so
we did.
Yeah. So what were some of the major differences, or just glaring 1988, my God, how did we make it through this moments in this movie? Besides, I mean, for me, it was the fact that there was not, I don't think a single person of color had a speaking role in the entire movie.
That's a good point. Yeah. No. That's,
No. I'm like, you think about it, it's like, no, I don't know. So not at all.
White America cocktail.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Basically.
The glaring, the difference is me seeing it young is it's entertainment. Right. Now, being in the industry, we looked at it so differently. And
so much liquor was spilled, and it was like, that's a lot of money. Like, that's a lot of money.
So I think going back to it is, it's iconic in a way because, a lot of people, depending on what age they are, who have seen this movie, like, you go and you see somebody flipping bottles at a bar, you automatically say, oh, they're doing the cocktail thing, because that's where really it was first seen. Like, had no idea of this whole bartender culture back then, and it's just like they're doing these these antics with the bottle, and it's really cool. It made the bartender sexy, and it almost created that illusion, like, oh, you want to sit at the. Now we have the whole craft cocktail movement, where they're making such unique drinks. They're not doing the antics, and that's become kind of the spectacle. But back then, that was just like a gimmick. The one thing I didn't catch is when they were working. First of all, that was a TGI Fridays.
Right, we were like, that's Fridays.
Oh, was it? That didn't even register.
Younger, of course, but we saw it. And when he was walking up, we saw the red stripes, and we were like, "Is that Fridays?" Yeah. And then later, a little bit later in the movie, it said TGI Friday. We was like, "That's Fridays."
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Okay, fucking Fridays is not serving amazing. No. Like, you're not seeing this. I'm pissed off to be here that you're eating at the bar, and here's your cocktail that's completely, not proportionate in worth whatsoever. So that was funny. But yeah, like Nay said, is the spillage, so it's just they're flipping these bottles around. And if you pay attention, there's just drops on his face. It's all over his shirt. And
it's just splattered all over the place.
It's like, that would not happen in real life, okay?
As an owner of a company, we love it. Because that means you're wasteful and you're buying more.
You gotta buy more. So
as an owner of an establishment, you're fucking fired.
Right.
If you ever watch John Taffer on Bar Rescue, and they measure.
Oh God, that guy's so angry.
He is.
Very aggressive.
Yeah, he's very aggressive, but he would look at that and say, you're out, you're fired, you're done. So that was really, really interesting to look at it from that angle.
Yeah, the liquor angle. I mean, I know in the filming of it was probably water, but, I'm just saying it looking at it as a liquor owner and, just older now too, from watching it in the 80s, it's just a lot of just different things are in there. Like you said, no people of color. Some of the themes just would not really happen. You're just like, really?
Yeah, like the whole plot of the movie, and I use that term loosely. It's just like these two guys are both terrible people. They're both ridiculous, and Tom Cruise like continually gets manipulated and just shit on by this dude, and lets it happen every time. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll take that bet every time, and he always comes out on the bottom.
Right. What? Are you that naive? Like, it's just...
we had to pause it a couple of times where just the clothes. the clothes from the 80s. And why was he always wearing like a XXL shirt, but he was a medium?
Yes.
You know? Like what? And
that one when he was running and or something he had, it was the black and white shirt. His sleeves was like that. And it's like, why are you wearing
it? 4 sizes too big, and just the acrobats, like you get like it's so loose that you can flip bottles around. I don't know.
It was all very. It's like we dressed like that. That's what we were doing. I mean, it's very. Our memories are very short-lived where it comes to like our bad fashion sense and choices, and especially us because we were not of age. We were all. I'm sure all 3 of us were like in junior high or like somewhere around there at this time.
Yeah.
And, so we were definitely dressing like a-holes.
Turtleneck look. That was my look.
1988 was not a good time for people.
No.
Like, what?
But I didn't have shirts that were like 4 sizes too big. That was not my look.
Okay.
I don't know.
I had the
sure.
And stuff like that, and the colors,
Oh God, the cross colors
and stuff, and all that stuff.
Socks and the 2 pairs of socks and mixing and matching. Oh yeah, leg warmers. That was always a big fun thing.
I didn't wear leg warmers just to let you both know that was not my scene either. So, but
good. That's good to know.
Right.
But it was even funny, like looking at his full wool suit. I mean, it's like holy shit, you gotta be sweating. It's so bad. It's funny. Yes. Oh, Louis Trey. So a bottle of Louis Trey was $500, and I'm like, you're not touching that shit.
So was that the bourbon that he
that's brandy.
The brandy that he got.
Yeah.
When they
were just like basically took it to the head.
But you see how much in that glass, how much they had in there. Like you would not drink it like that. I was like, it looks like a full bottle of wine in that glass. You could not be drinking it like that.
Yeah, I don't drink brandy, but pop culture has taught me that I'm sure it's like a little bit and a snifter. You swirl it around. You enjoy it. You sip on it. He
had a whole glass, like the whole snifter had like a whole bottle of wine in there.
God, if only he had just like burned some Sprite in there or something and made up.
that would have lost me there. Like that's sacrilegious.
Yeah.
But and he's gulping it, and it's just
you don't drink like that.
Like I mean, it's a funny movie, and watching it now, it's like to me, it's just still a cult classic because there's a lot of interesting undertones. So when he's sitting on that boat or whatever, and he's talking with the love that he met in Jamaica, and Elizabeth Shue, and they're talking, and he's like trying to find his flugel binder. He's trying to figure out what it is to make $1 million, and I think even then, as I was telling Nate, it resonated with me because I always wanted to do something more in life. I always wanted, but I never knew what it was until along came an opportunity to put out a tequila. And that's why, like, on the back of our tequila, our motto, our slogan, tagline is create your legacy. Because it's like I always wanted to create a legacy, and I just never felt. So I always understood what he was kind of saying in that scene. And as cheesy as it is, it always stuck with me that we're always searching for a purpose. We're always searching for something more in life.
Right.
Be a podcast, whether it be a blog, whether it be creating a product or building a business, we want something that gives us purpose. And, so watching it again after so many years, it was, I had to pause it and think about it like, holy shit, like that was something that really did resonate with me at the time. And 88, I mean, like I was 13, whatever. Right. I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, my goal was to own a Porsche. That was my goal. Like one day I have to own a Porsche. And then I got to a point where I could buy a Porsche, and it's like, fuck it. I don't want a Porsche. I don't want, I want to create a company, so it was one of those things. But I think like that was, and then like the barman talk, so like Doug Coughlin, Brian, whatever his name is.
Brian something.
Well, I don't know what his
real name.
Yeah,
his protege, or I mean his the guy
Doug
who
Coughlin was the character's name, but the
actor,
Brian Brown.
Brian Brown.
Okay.
So like all his little anecdotes that he talked about is like that shit's so stereotypical of what you get from a bartender.
Word.
And quite honestly, I have never been to a bar where I'm just chatting it up with the bartender. Typically the places we go, they're too busy. It's like, what do you want? Here's your drink. So I want to know where these bars are where we can get that bartender's advice. Everything.
In 1988, that's where you can get that.
Yeah.
So what, like the scene that you were talking about when talking about his finding his flugelhorn or whatever. That was probably my favorite scene, like the best scene in the entire movie, because I thought that's where we're getting into some heart in this film. I was like, all right, now we're getting somewhere, because he's talking about, like you said, trying to find his purpose. But there's also this moment where he's saying about how, and that a lot of entrepreneurs or just even artists in general, it sits with them, is that, you want to do this thing, you want to do this big thing, but then you've got this 9-to-5 job, or in his case, he's working at nights, but you're just doing this job this day in, day out, just so you can get to do what you want to do and what your passion is, and never really getting to there, because basically this 9-to-5 regular job either beats out that passion out of you, or your spirit, or it just takes too much time and you're just too tired to do what you really want to do. And I think that's something that a lot of artists and entrepreneurs can relate to.
That's extremely relevant, in society. So it's like, for me, I'm going on 2 years not working for somebody else.
Congrats.
Thank you. And, it's been a lot of stress. So his stress and his depression, kind of that heartfelt, where you thought the movie was starting to go.
Right.
It didn't. The tributary didn't lead there.
Right.
It went back into.
Never mind. Okay. That's
it was
fine.
like, we're here. This is the Oscar award-winning performance. This is the Jerry Maguire scene. So, but it didn't go there. But that's so typical, like, of what happens. So what you said really happens. I've had so many people reach out to me and want advice and help them to create their Flugelbinder. Mm-hmm. And the key is just you got to be consistent with it. You got to be persistent and patient and just keep going. And when you have those hard times, which are going to come, it's just you have to keep moving forward. And there's really no secret sauce. There's nothing to it. Yes, you find
consistency.
Yeah, you find something that you can put out, but you just got to be consistent with it. And
absolutely,
his consistency was pouring drinks and creating a bar, like within the city of New York, 4 months.
That really wouldn't happen.
I'm like, that was at the end. So we close out with this terrible person. He gets the girl, he gets the baby, and he gets his bar, and she hasn't even given birth yet.
Right. So it was only in a couple months. That doesn't work, really.
Yeah. The reality of it is, in the 2 months that it took to open this bar, dreams, which it is a dream. It's a whole dream sequence, because that shit just never happened that fast. But, then she tells him, twins and drinks on the house. No, you just opened.
Right. How are you giving it to the whole bar?
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen.
I want to do like Beverly Hills 90210, where we do a flash, forward, like what happened 10 years, where he's divorced, he's got 3 kids. Cocktails and Dreams went into a franchise and it went under, And
he's still got like a sign in his living room, like one of the neon signs.
Right.
It won't be a full movie. It'll just be like a webisode.
It's funny that you bring up 90210, because I noticed Mr. Walsh at the back at the bar as an extra in Jamaica. Did you see that?
Yes. I
didn't.
I didn't. I recognized him, and I'm thinking, I know that face. Where is that guy from? Did not register that it wasn't. You're right. Yep. You're absolutely right.
No, I didn't see him.
It's just like, in Jamaica, he's back there. I think Tom says something to him, but he always stays in the background, but he's always in frame.
Okay.
I don't think he has any words or anything, but yeah.
Hilarious. That's where it was. I knew I recognized him. Wow.
Also, what I would have liked to have seen in this movie was a little bit more how glamorized that they were how glamorous they were trying to make the bartending lifestyle. Like, I would have liked to have seen him get a little more enamored into like this whole feeling like a rock star, and then everybody wanting to fuck him, and and this easy money, this easy fun money that he's making, and all that stuff. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that, just to kind of make it a better cautionary tale.
That would have added like another half hour that I don't know if you would have been able to deal with.
No.
I could pick out 45 minutes that could have been removed and then put this actual storyline in.
My thing is too, when they were in the cell block thing, what was the thing with the guy with the poem? What was that?
The yuppie poet.
The yuppie poet. Okay, it made no sense, but I mean, I get it, artistic and stuff like that. But it was like, okay, what reason was this scene? And like, to me, it could have been cut out. Like, it really didn't need to be in there.
But it set him up as a poet, the barman poet.
But
that setup.
But he could have just did that. They didn't need a setup. What they need to set up for? He could have just did the poem. That was a scene that just really did not work. And then
it didn't work. Why?
Well, we were talking because we were like, this would never happen. How's it only 2 bartenders? And did you see how many people were there?
There were like 5,000 people in that bar.
And y'all got 10 bottles of liquor. You are not serving all those people.
TGA Fridays had like 40 million bottles of liquor. You go to this upscale chic place. There's only 2 bartenders.
2 bartenders and 10 bottles for 5,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Who set that scene?
Like that place would have been shut down immediately. Like, there would have been a riot. People would have been murdered. It's just not so many angry people wanting to be drunk.
That was not real at all.
But he's making one cocktail, one drink at a time.
Right. And it's taking too long to do it.
Because they're doing their little routine. So they're doing a routine for one drink.
Yeah.
I'd be so pissed. I'd be so upset if I was waiting for. Dude, all I want is a rum and Coke. Can we please just?
That's a Cuba Libre.
Right. Right. Why didn't you just say that?
Yeah. Thank God for White Claw now, because it's just be like, give me a 6-pack of White Claw the way you guys pour drinks.
Yeah.
It's like, never mind. I'll just take water.
I'll take water at the fountain because I'm not.
I'm not playing these games with you. What I'm not going to do is stand here for 30 minutes while you mix up.
Yeah. How long food took.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and I would like to have seen the show that the chefs were like giving back there that nobody's like paying attention to. Yeah. Have either one of you had the pleasure of being a bartender?
Me, no. He knows how to make drinks. he's a bartender in training.
Okay, that's all right. I was a bartender for a couple months, and I found out that I'm a terrible bartender. I mean, I can mix drinks, sure, but I am a terrible bartender, mostly because I don't enjoy people. And
could be it. That's a big component.
Right.
Yeah, you guys.
But suffice it to say, that only lasted for a couple months. But then once I found, I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Bartender. I
don't think that I would, because I just because somebody would say something and just get me irritated.
Right.
With a week. It's a 1.5 ounce pour. You ordered a screwdriver. Like, what do you want? Just all vodka?
Well, so would you do with your brand now, you probably have many opportunity to do like guest bartending in places. Is that something that?
So it's a unique, kind of position. So Michigan's a controlled state, much as Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. So this is a controlled liquor state, and there's just a lot of things that you can and can't do with your liquor brand. So like we're doing, because we won Best Michigan Tequila, we're doing their annual party, Best of Detroit, exclusive party, a lot of media. We cannot pour.
Oh, really?
Single drop.
No.
It has to be a hired bartender, which we don't have to hire. Thankfully, they take care of everything. We just supply the product. So, but we can't. So, we see you and your posse coming up to the table, and I want to try some Teeq Tequila, just straight. Mm-hmm. We can't even do that. It has to be in a cocktail.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rules and regulations. It's such a regulated industry, specifically here in Michigan, but like in Chicago.
Control states. It's 16 control states.
Yeah, there's 16 controlled states. So, but like in California, I can pull the shit like a mixtape out of my trunk and sell it.
Yeah.
I got that teak. I got that Teeqlife.
You got that? Right.
You know, it's fantastic. So,
Boo!
but that's how it is. I can master P this stuff all day long and just make $1 million out of my trunk selling to stores. Florida's
in
the same way. Florida's the same way, but Michigan.
No.
Oh, Michigan is horrible.
But
Is it?
if we can make it in Michigan, we can make it anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So is Michigan also, because you compared it a little bit to Pennsylvania, so you have to, there's no, like, you don't sell alcohol in gas stations or grocery stores or...
Oh, wait a minute.
Yours is different.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pennsylvania is different than Michigan. Like, all the control states are different as well, because some control states they just control wine or they just control spirits.
Mm-hmm.
But, and some like Michigan control wine and spirits. But Pennsylvania is even more so difficult because I think, they only sell at certain places or something like that.
It has to be at one of the state stores.
Yeah.
Oh.
State stores.
But then just recently, like within the last year, one of our major grocery store chains started to be able to sell beer and wine, but not liquor.
Yeah, and I heard that.
Talk about 1988.
Dude.
Pennsylvania is another state that has to do that too, that you can only buy it from
Virginia.
these state stores, right?
It's Virginia.
No, Michigan, they sell it we have a gas station actually around the corner from us that has our tequila.
Nice.
That sell liquor. Major grocery stores have liquor, the retail, spaces, liquor stores and all of those. Yeah. So no, it's not state mandated stores.
Yeah.
It was a major shock when I moved here, and I was like, partying with my roommates or whatever, and they're like, oh, we ran out of beer. And I was like, oh, I could just go down to the gas station and go pick some up. And they're like, that's not how things work around here. And then also for the longest, you couldn't even go, the liquor stores weren't open on Sundays either. So like,
wow.
You had to do your stuff Monday through Saturday, otherwise.
And I know Michigan actually used to be on Sunday. They wouldn't sell it before some time.
2.
Right. Yeah.
Before 2.
Yeah.
No, as far as liquor controlled states, Michigan is the number 1 selling liquor controlled state. So we sell the most out of the 16?
Yeah.
Yeah. Virginia's coming up. Pennsylvania, it kind of gives me a lot of backdrop now because I have a friend who owns a brand and they've been trying for almost a year.
It's hard to get
into Pennsylvania.
Really?
And that's how difficult it is.
Oh my God! So basically, I'm gonna have to take a trip up to Michigan in order to get a bottle of teak.
We will, we can figure something out. We won't talk about it right now.
Word. Okay.
I record it.
No.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? We've got a football team there, so you never know. We might want to.
Speaking of, yes, I know that you are a big Steelers fan, Don.
Yeah.
And trying to get there.
Yeah. Did you care about football at all before, or?
I almost surprised him 1 year because a friend of mine a friend of theirs owns a company and had like tickets, but it was like December 20th for this game.
Oh God.
And they have no roof. I was like, it's probably gonna be freezing.
You don't want those problems. Don't come to Pittsburgh in December.
Yeah, I was like, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah,
we got tickets. We were there. We would be there.
One of our friends, his friend was a conditioning coach for the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. So it came up really quick last minute. It was the Steelers are going to be in Miami. I got these extra tickets. They're amazing seats. Do you want to go?
Wasn't it like a Monday and then it was for that weekend or something?
Yeah, it was like on a Monday he told me. And I was a divisional vice president, so it was, fuck it. We can do this. And so, we went down just for the weekend, saw the game, came back, and then the following weekend we went to...
Because it was my birthday.
Yeah, and then we went somewhere else. So it was like...
That was already planned.
Yeah.
But, this came up last minute, and he's like, we going to Miami then.
Oh, that's awesome.
A
nice surprise.
Yeah.
It's the Steelers.
I mean, we had awesome seats, too.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing though. It was like 150 degrees though, so
We stayed inside a lot.
Wasn't fantastic
because we were able to go in the area that had air conditioning and good food and stuff. So yeah.
And they had good tequila.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Nice. Well, there you go. That was a lovely weekend, I'm sure.
The other thing about it with going back to cocktail is we don't focus on the restaurants or the bars because
where's your focus?
So 70% of sales actually come from retail space.
Okay.
So that's just across the board, not just for us. It's just for the spirit industry as a whole. For us, it's actually higher. So what bars look at is margin. They're looking at what they can get in as cheap as possible so that way they can put it into a cocktail and make a good margin on it. And with ours being premium tequila, it's just you're not going to get those margins. The other thing about it is they're sometimes snobby, snooty. It's just they don't want to bring your product unless you have that big marketing push. And for us, I've visited 20 restaurants and like maybe one will bring us on.
Oh, wow.
It just becomes a big waste of time.
And it's also, they don't know what to do with it. Unlike, in cocktail, I mean, they made some very simple drinks. Like the blue drink they had.
Rum and Coke.
We were like, that blue, what's it called? Curacao or whatever.
Yeah, it was
that blue drink that he was making. And, these are really simple drinks. But, we found that a lot of restaurants, if they don't have someone who is a mixologist who likes to create, they don't know what to do with our tequila. And, there are so many things that can be done, but they just don't want to try it, even try it to do something because everybody is so used to tequila being shots or margaritas. That's it. And what we've done and what we've been doing, we've had several appearances on our local news here, all our local stations we've been on. Each and every time we've had different drinks. And it's amazing because then people are like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. We've made martinis with tequila.
Really?
We had a tequila mimosa, we had old fashioned, we had, just different drinks. And you're like, oh, I didn't know that was tequila. Yeah. You can make tequila. Especially ours, because our tequila they're both sipping tequila, so you can enjoy them by themselves. However, they blend very well in all the drinks that we've made with them.
Okay.
And there's nothing more fun than getting, news anchors blitzed on a Sunday
at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:45 in the morning.
They're coming out, let's do another shot. And you're looking at it like, don't you have to go on the news?
You still have
you still have news to report.
Yeah, you got 3 hours. And it's just like, okay. And, so we've had a lot of like really good times with this. It's opened up a lot of doors. We've met a lot of really cool people, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really, speaking to you, like you like tequila. So there's a difference there. Most people, it's, if we're doing a tasting, they have this. You want to try some tequila? Tequila?
No.
No, I don't want to.
I ain't drank that in 20 years because this and this and this. Okay, probably because you were drinking some bullcrap. Like you was drinking, what were you drinking? And most of the time, Jose Cuervo. That's why.
Yeah. That's why your life is. That's why.
But then I also tell them, I'm like, okay, so what were you drinking the rest of the day? You were probably drinking sugary drinks. You were probably drinking mixing stuff, and then you just remember that shot of tequila sent you over. You blamed tequila on it, but you were drinking everything else under the sun the rest of the day.
Like how dare you blame tequila on your bad choices?
You were drinking Bahama Mamas. You were drinking sugar. You were drinking Jägermeister. You were drinking all this stuff, and then that shot of tequila sent you over, so you blame tequila. No.
But it's great at a store. It's like if I'm doing a tasting and it's like, oh no, tequila. No, I don't want to touch. And then they're like, okay, give me a fifth of Fireball.
Right. You're like, really?
Do you realize when Fireball came out on the market, it had an ingredient in it that was found in antifreeze?
Oh God.
They had to pull it off.
Yeah.
So it was banned in different countries. Of course, America let that shit fly through.
They're like, it's fine. We're Americans. It's cool.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah, never care.
But yeah, like I see like their buying habits and what they're spending, and it's just wow, you don't want to try tequila, which is made from a plant. The plant takes 7 years to grow, but all these chemical and artificial concoctions in the liquid
okay
form.
with.
I'm okay with that shit.
Yeah. Okay.
They just don't love themselves, is what it boils down to.
To just find out. I mean, if you really start looking into liquor and, you know, just how some of liquors are made and just the chemicals and stuff that some, you know, that are added, you might think a little bit differently, you know, just because we do know some that have additives that they add in for coloring or anything like that. Yeah. And it's just like, do you really know what you're drinking?
Yeah. Which is the case, but no, most Americans do not know what they're drinking or eating or just like whatever, putting on their bodies, just ingesting in general.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have the time to, or the intelligence to go ahead and look forth and like actually just think about it.
Yeah.
Just had to research.
I mean, so we found that we're trying to educate. You know, some people listen, but you know, most, you know, they go about their way. But you know, we're trying to educate as we go.
Yeah, you know, and it's just you can only do so much. I mean, you know, look at the political system. You can only lead the horse to water. I mean,
all right, so
like, look, you know, this is all we can do. Yeah. Can't make you appreciate tequila. You can try it, and I bet you, like, we have a good success rate. Like, once they try it, wow, this is really good. But still, you know, they stick to what they know. I mean, it's a lot about comfortability. So it's and price point as well. So the better products, even when it comes to food, they're more expensive. You know, not everybody can go to Whole Foods, you know, grocery shopping and spend $1,000.
Right.
Especially if you have a family.
Week, organic food.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's very difficult.
And it's a shame that it boils down to that it's just like, you know, it's, but that's a whole nother podcast, whole nother time, whole nother conversation. So to sum this up, Cocktail, I would say the moral of the story is basically the male ego ruins everything. And, you can still be, what's that?
You know what? Yeah. Honestly, I don't know about this whole betting thing because I've never had like a guy throw down a bet and then it's like I have to take the bet and I don't even know if I can ever
really?
fucking spin that story to somebody like, look, honey, I had to sleep with her because Tony laid down a bet.
Yeah. He made a bet. Okay, you're right.
Right.
Yeah. No. How much was the bet? 50 cents. But I couldn't help myself.
I ain't no punk. I'm not gonna walk away from 50 cents.
You know, my street cred on the suburbs of Michigan. You know, like I can't even show my face anymore if I turn that down. So,
yeah, I think it does go down to ego.
And guys are dumb.
Yeah. Basically,
well, that's the theme.
You know,
yes, that is the theme. So this
a real man, this movie would have been 20 minutes.
Right. You know? It'd be like, I bet you can't, dude. I'm not like, what am I? What are we? 12? I'm not right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as ratings go, we'll go around. On 1 to 5, how many stars would you give this movie now today? August 4th, 2019.
I'll let you know, ladies first.
Okay.
It's definitely not a 5. It would probably be like for me, like a 2. Like and 2.
That's exactly where I am. It's like a 2, and like one of those stars goes strictly for the soundtrack that just kind of, you know, that's still.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, we totally forgot. So we've like some of the big points on there, like Addicted to Love and Kokomo, obviously.
And Kokomo.
So that it's funny that you mentioned that because, you know, we looked it up and I said, wow, I think Kokomo got really popular because of this movie.
Yeah.
And I think it was released on the soundtrack of this movie. So it wasn't out previously, you know, and I don't know where Don't Worry, Be Happy by Bobby McFerrin, you know, because that was right around that time as well. So, you know, the impact that movies had, you know, with soundtracks. And so was that movie was that before Top Gun?
I think so.
I can't remember. Top Gun is one of my favorites, though.
Is it? I think Top Gun may have been...
But like that's another soundtrack that blew up because of a movie, and so it's like,
no, Top Gun was 86.
Wow, so it was
after.
So Top Gun was after,
Yeah. Okay.
So for the music, for some of the business stuff, I would give it like 2.5. Okay. Like realistically, I'd give it 2.5.
Okay, that's mad generous.
There's still
the street bikini is
right. Right, exactly. That's one whole entire star. Right.
That's the half, because it's a half a swimsuit. So it's entertaining. Like would I watch it again?
Probably
no.
Yes,
that was my next question. Are you down to watch it again?
We're going to.
Never again.
This shit's gonna be remade.
Yeah, they remade
Never again. I'll never know. I don't know.
Point Break was remade.
Unless Michael B. Jordan is playing the lead, like unless Mahershala Ali is going to play this role, unless it's Tom Hardy. Yeah. I'm not doing this again.
Like Tom Hardy, like I want him, his crazy ass, like slinging around a bottle, and
he's a whole nother movie, man. Like, are you kidding?
Like he would throw it at somebody. Yeah. You would think that he would throw it at somebody.
Yeah, he would murder 5 people with one bottle, right? Without breaking the bottle.
Exactly.
And it's just like that's the movie I want to see. That's the cocktail I want to
see. That one though.
Yeah, but realistically, they're probably going to make this remake this at some point, because if it's not a superhero movie that's coming out every third week of the month, it's a remake
of something.
You know, it is.
It is, and that's the case. And I wish Hollywood would stop pretending like there's not a bunch of new voices that can be found with people like creating new worlds and telling new stories. It's ugh. And there's not reboot, but a sequel to Top Gun coming out.
Yeah, I know.
That's what we needed. So also,
I'm not interested.
I don't want to watch it because Top Gun was one of my favorite 80s movies, and I'm good.
Yeah. And so another thing that I like to point out in this podcast is I like to use the Bechdel test against against the movies. Are you either one of you familiar with the Bechdel test?
No.
I'm not. No.
The Bechdel test is a type of litmus test to assess the presence of women in movies. It originated from Alison Bechdel's comic Dykes to Watch Out For back in 1985. And the rules of the test are as follows. 1, it has to have at least 2 named women in the movie. 2, they have to talk to each other. And 3, they have to talk to each other about something besides a man. This movie fails that test. I don't think
Probably.
2 women talk to each other.
No, I don't think so. Oh,
in the back of the ambulance.
No. Well, she
did,
but she only said, "I'm going to throw up," basically.
Right.
So
was it?
So that
it totally failed that test.
I mean, Tom Cruise is kind of effeminate sometimes, so I mean, he's not like the manly man.
Hair. He had great hair. Remember I said that one scene? I was like, why is his hair just like perfect?
Oh my god! At the last scene, is like he did a blowout, like it's like super high and just like really like you spent some time on that. Now we can see that you are successful because look at your hair.
I think we need to go to like 2 3/4 stars now for some of that 80s hair. Especially in the art showing.
The full volume of the hair.
Yes.
All that hairspray that was used for that.
Oh, so much Aquanet.
The ozone layer right there.
Right. So much Aquanet. Okay, so thank you, Don and Nayana, for hanging out with me today. And let folks know where they can find more out about living the Teeq life.
Well, living the Teeq life would be Teeqlife, and that's teeqlife.com. But our tequila is Teeq Tequila, which is teekspirits.com. We are on all social media under Teeq Tequila or under Teeq Life.
And that's TEEQ.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
Tequila, and hopefully coming to a market that doesn't take a year to get to, and is only sold in one store during Monday through Saturday.
Right.
We need to change that legislation.
Right. Yes.
That's what we need to do. Once we change the legislation, then we're definitely at a Steelers game.
All right, cool. All right, again, thank you both very much. And thank you all for listening. You can subscribe, follow, like us. We're on Twitter at DTW Podcast, Down to Watch Podcast on Facebook. You can also subscribe and listen to on Podbean and iTunes. That is under Down to Watch Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can send an email to downtowatchpodcast@gmail.com. All right, once again, thank you.
Thanks. See ya.